right. Well, I hope you had a good weekend. I had a really good weekend. I had a good, first of all, good Lord's Day yesterday. My pastor had just such a encouraging and helpful sermon about sexuality and women and men and things like that. And it was really, really good. I saw that Pastor Mike Foster, it looks like he had something that was pretty good for yesterday. A little triggering, I liked it. I liked that. I like the title. But hopefully you had a good, blessed Lord's Day. Hopefully you called your mom yesterday to talk to her, say what's up, and tell her that she's a blessing to you, especially if she's been a blessing to you, because mothers often are. So I hope you had a good weekend. The day before the Lord's Day, I actually had a chance to meet with some people from the Fight Laugh Feast conference that I met 6 months ago or so. So it was a great time. We went to our brother's house in Maine, Josh. God bless you, Josh, you and your wife and your kids. It was a great time. Thank you so much for your hospitality. We hung out with, shout out to Ken, shout out to Art, and I'm missing a couple people, but that's okay. God bless you all. I had a great time speaking with you and hanging out and all of that kind of thing. We're going to probably do something at my house. So if you live in New England and you're a Fight Laugh Feast person, hit me up. And at some point in the summer, we'll do an event over at my house. We're actually getting a patio put in this summer. So once it gets put in, we'll have a much better place to sort of hang out and have a good time and all that. No masks allowed at my house and all that kind of thing. But stay tuned for that, especially if you live in New England. I'd love to hang out with you. Now, let's jump into this topic. A couple things today. The first thing I wanted to mention is I read this comment on my video regarding the Gospel Coalition Canada article, which, by the way, every day that passes, it's being revealed that Carter guy, Paul Carter, is just, let me try to be nice here. He's out to lunch. He's out to lunch on this topic that Christians are not being abused in Canada. Another pastor was arrested for having church and all that kind of thing. And Gospel Coalition is, running interference for the government. Running interference for the crown. Nothing to see here. No Christians being abused here. Nope. It's just really sad to see. I think that it's very clear that Gospel Coalition is the official state-sanctioned version of evangelicalism. They will cover for the state at every turn. They will get the state's back over your back at every turn. That is very clear. And by now, if you're part of the Gospel Coalition and that's not you, like if you got your brother's back over the state's back in matters of doctrine, theology, and stuff like that. I mean, my goodness, if that's not you, it's time to leave the Gospel Coalition. It's time to disconnect, because the reality is that if you're working and co-laborating with people that got the crown's back over the Christians' back as they're abusing Christians for being Christians, if you got the state's back in that, dude, you're playing for the wrong team. And by the way, they're going to turn you in next. See, that's the reality. These Gospel Coalition guys, you can't trust them if they're turning a blind eye to the abuses of the government against your brothers and sisters in Christ, and you're going to be next. So I would suggest maybe separating yourself a little. Doesn't mean you can't be friends with them if you want to, but I wouldn't trust them. I wouldn't trust them with my life. I'll tell you that right now. So anyway, here's the thing. So I wanted to talk about this comment, because this brother, he comments a lot on my channel, and I wanted to respond to it and just acknowledge it, but he responded on that video. Here's what he says. ST. He says, AD, I hope of all the posts I ever wrote you read this one. Imagine this scenario. Let's say someone said no blacks had ever been abused by the police. There would be an uproar. To say Christians have not been abused by the government at this time? Crickets. Who are we really loyal to? First of all, ST, man, I read almost all of your comments. I want to just say that. And by the way, this is for all of you that comment on my YouTube channel. God bless you guys. Thank you. Let me just say that. Thank you. It helps the channel get more play. It helps more people see these videos. If you find my videos helpful, leave a comment. Leave a comment about it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to push back and all that kind of stuff, because all of that actually helps more people see the content. And I think that's a good thing. And that's, I do this content for you guys. And so if you like it and you want more people to hear it, leave a comment, let me know. And now the thing is, ST, I don't respond to your comments all the time. And a lot of you, sometimes I don't respond to your comments. And it's just because I don't have the time to respond to every comment. But just know, guys, that I read almost all of them. And let me just say this to UST and a lot of you guys, even Jason's commenting on this, that kind of thing. I find your comments so helpful, man. Like, I learn from the comments so much. And I just have to say thank you for it, because my content is better and my understanding of the events that I talk about is enriched very often by the comment section. I think the YouTube comment section gets a bad rep a lot of the time. I see a lot of people say, oh, that's a cesspool and all that kind of stuff. I disagree. And maybe I'm biased because it's my channel, but I think the people that comment on this channel, the quality is like, it is primo, man. It is top notch. I've seen some comment sections that it's just a disaster. But our comment section, man, you guys, thank you, man. You enrich my life. I'm not going to lie. You help me understand things that are hard to understand. And I just got to say thank you for that. So keep commenting, brother. ST, I read almost all of your comments, and I almost always find them helpful. And this is no exception. So thank you for the comment. Let me just say that at the outset. And I completely agree, man. I completely agree. It's such a good point, because if I were to say, I've never done this. I get accused of saying this all the time, but I've never done this. But if I were to say, black people have never been abused by the cops. I mean, and it'd be crazy for you to think that black people could be abused by the cops. You're a psychopath. They would be like, are you insane, AD? How could you say that? You're lying. You must be a white supremacist. You must be this. You must be that. And like, that would be a lie if I were to say something like that. I've never done this. Again, I'm often accused of saying this. I never have said this. And I know that minorities sometimes get mistreated by authorities. I've been mistreated by authorities. I've been with my white friends, and, you know, I'm the one they pick out and stuff like that. But you see, the difference is, though, I understand that though bad things sometimes do happen, that does not necessarily say anything about my white friend over here. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't say anything about, you know, Charles down the street. Charles, I don't know if Charles is a white name, but it was the whitest name I could think of. Doesn't say anything about Charles down the street, right? It doesn't say anything about that man. See, I understand the difference there. But if I was lying, especially if there were big events, right? And I was saying, no, black people have never been abused by the government. And meanwhile, black churches were being raided by the government, and black pastors were being hauled off for having black church. Like, if that was happening, I was saying, nope, never happened, nope. Of course you'd be suspicious of me, and rightfully so, because I'd be obviously lying and running interference for the government. But you see, Paul Carter does the same exact thing for Christians. He knows what happened to Coates. He knows what's happened to these Christians in his country. He knows. I know, and I don't even live in the country. He knows, and he's lying for the crown. And so he obviously has loyalties besides the Christian fellowship. He has loyalties, and I'm not saying he doesn't have loyalties to some Christians. I'm just saying he's trying to serve two masters here. Maybe he does understand that the meeting of the body, the gathering of the bodies is important, right? In theory, it's important to Paul Carter, but he's got a higher authority, and that higher authority has told him, though this might be important, what's more important is what we tell you it's safe to do or not. And we tell you that the assembly is not safe to do. Therefore, you must listen to me. And Paul Carter is over here trying to serve two masters, but ultimately, one of the masters always wins out. That's what Jesus said. That's a teaching of Jesus. If you're trying to serve two masters, ultimately one master will win out. And it's usually going to be the bad master. It's usually going to be the one that shouldn't be your master. And so it's like that's what Paul Carter's up to. Maybe because people are like, oh, he's a good guy. A couple people reached out to me and said he's a strong believer. And I have no evidence of this. I'm sorry, you might have evidence of this, but I have no evidence of this, because as strong as he might be down here, he's attempting to serve his ultimate master, which has told him that it's too dangerous to do the things that God told you to do down here. So he's going to serve his ultimate master. And so my reaction, I don't know him. Again, I'm not saying it's bad if you know him. I'm just saying I don't know him. And so what I see him doing is bowing to the master up here, you know, the Canadian crown, and doing what they say over what God said, because in his order of priorities, that's down here. You see, that's upside down. God has to be your priority, right? And so if God says you meet for the assembly, you meet for the assembly. And so if the crown says it's too dangerous, that comes lower on the priority list, because you do have to obey the crown. as long as the crown is in line with what God has said, right? But the minute the crown says, no, I know God said you go to church on Sunday, you sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, but you can't do it. It's too dangerous. We say no. That has to be like, sorry, I still respect you, crown, but I have to serve God rather than men. See, Paul Carter has it upside down. That's idolatry. Paul Carter is proudly displaying his idolatry in the pages of Gospel Coalition, which unfortunately is not all that unusual. And so, ST, brother, you're exactly right. That hypocrisy, I don't know, it's not really hypocrisy, but that example that you're using, yeah, it is hypocrisy. That example that you're using betrays what's really going on here. He's got a loyalty, and it's not the loyalty he ought to have. Very, very interesting. And we notice the same thing with John Lehman, right? Where he says it's too dangerous to go to church, and then he's marching with Black Lives Matter. John Lehman and Paul Carter are cut from the same cloth. ST, it's a good point. Because John Lehman's marching with Black Lives Matter in the same week he's saying it's too dangerous to go to church. We must listen to the authorities. It's like he obviously has a loyalty that is winning out over his loyalty to Christ. And what I would say that's not really loyalty to Christ. That's actually a hatred of Christ. That's actually disregarding of Christ. When you don't obey Christ's commands, but you go march with your black friends at the Black Lives Matter rally because that's the cool thing to do. So anyway, that's that. See, at least if he marched with Black Lives Matter, I would probably still criticize him, but I wouldn't be that much, I wouldn't do it that hardcore if he was at least going to church on Sunday. But obviously not. So anyway, thank you so much for your comment, though. And again, if I don't respond to your comments often or all the time, don't get it twisted. I read them, and I find them so valuable all the time. And I even find it valuable when you tell me that I'm wrong about something, because it gets me to think a lot clearer, and it helps me to communicate better. Oftentimes, I'm told I'm wrong about something, and when I read the comment, I'm like, well, I'm not really wrong about it, but I actually did not explain that the way I should have. I should have added more detail, and so it actually helps me present the information that I have better. So when you tell me I'm an idiot because I'm wrong about X, Y, and Z, oftentimes it ends up helping me in the end, because maybe I'm not an idiot, but maybe I explained it like an idiot. Sometimes I'm an idiot, though. Yeah. Anyway. So there's that. And, I guess that's really it. The markets are, it's looking a little scary out there. The other day, there's some stuff going on. We've got gold is rising, commodities are rising in general, and the stock market is looking a little rough out there. Guys, be careful. My suggestion is don't ride the wave all the way down. It might be time. If you've been getting all these sick gains from the government stimulus and stuff like that, and you've been riding the NASDAQ wave up, and all that kind of thing, man, maybe take. Listen, I'm not a financial advisor. But if it was me, and I had gotten some sick gains on some of this stuff, and even crypto to some degree, maybe it's time to take a little money off the table. You don't have to take it all. But maybe take some of those profits. It's just an idea, because it's looking rough out there. And we'll talk more about that this week, because it's going to be probably a crazy week when it comes to the economy. I hope you found this video helpful. God bless.